Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Today I'm going to be doing stages 15 to 20 at a Fanhome release of build the 1989 Batmobile. So before we jump into this today, I'm very much aware that we didn't test the turbine that we did in the last stage. Let me just bring that up here. Now, officially, there isn't a way to test this because, well, they haven't provided that yet. But, as you can see here, I've got Mike Lane Test Circuit Pro. This is available through MikeLaneMods.com. I can actually test it through this. So what I do is I plug a USB-C just into here. Then I plug the motor. You see a blue light comes in here. We've got a motor tester on here. So I can just plug the motor in. And then when I press this button, that turbine is going to spin, as you can see. Now, unfortunately, you can't really see anything else because everything, all those fans in there are encased in there. So the only thing that you can see is this. Perhaps they needed to cut a viewing window or something. But as you can hear, that's quite quiet as well. Very good. I thought we'd get that out of the way first. But if you do want to get this for yourself, it's available through Fanhome. You have to check if it is still available, actually. I've put a link in the video description. And you've also got that QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. No idea what we're doing today. I've got a funny feeling it's suspension, but this is stage 15. Here's the magazine, and I was right. Look at this, the left rear swing arm. Putting this together like that. So that's how that's looking. And this is the rest of the magazine. And here's all the parts. Let's get them all open. Each part is individually wrapped. Okay, first thing we want is this swing arm, and we're going to be putting a bracket onto this. So here's the bracket. Just going to go on like this here, and we're going to put a type F screw, which is one of these larger screws here, through the other side. Now I have put a little bit of oil on the end there and get that screwed all the way in. That's a nice easy way to start, isn't it? Okay, I want to bring over this wishbone now and do exactly the same thing with the brackets here, but we want the indented side, or the raised side should I say, of the bracket to be facing towards the inside here. So one in here, get that in all the way, and do exactly the same on the other side, but with its opposite. So if you look at the top camera, that is how that should be laid out. So bringing over what we had created in the last pack, we're going to be adding to this now. So on this tab just at the side of the hub, we're going to be putting in what we just created here. It's going to go through the bottom just like that, and it's held in with a type G screw. Now these are flange screws. Again, a bit of oil because all of this is metal. Get that screwed in. So as you can see, we've now got two of these brackets at the bottom here. We're going to be putting the wishbone into place, which is going to go through the top here onto that point there. Once again, G screw to hold that in. And this is for the rear left wheel, but as you can see, that's in place. That's all there is to do in that stage. So I'm guessing we're building onto that in stage 16. Here's the magazine. And we got the rear frame. Wow, this is quite big. Looking just like this. And we're going to be attaching that to the rear frame. And again, the rest of the magazine. And again, everything is individually wrapped here. So let's get this all out. And look, in this stage, we get the world's smallest screwdriver. It's tiny. Now, this frame is plastic. Now, I have seen this before, even though the actual chassis looks to be plastic here. It's normally reinforced with metal parts, but we're going to see that later on. But what we are going to do is we're going to be putting these rear suspension bases into place. And basically, these are metal. See what I mean? So I think you'll find that even though this frame is plastic, everything else around it is going to be metal. They're both going to go on just like that. And they're held in with type D screws. No oil this time because we are going into plastic. I am going to use my bigger screwdriver as well, just to secure these in on both sides. So they should be sort of like angled slightly upwards. But there you go. That's those in place. Okay, I now want to take what we've created first. We're going to start putting this into place in here. So the bottom two arms that we've got here are going to go into the holes just here. And they're held in from the other side with type G screws. Probably best just to do one at a time. Again, I have oiled this screw up to make that go in nice and easy. I'll load up another one and put the next one in just here. You want to let gravity be your friend there to get that in. So we've got the bottoms in there, as you can see. Going to do exactly the same with the tops. I'm holding the hub now. I've got that lined up so I can get this screw through here. And now I can see why they've gave us a little screwdriver. If you have a long enough shaft screwdriver, you're not going to have a problem. But it is a little bit tricky to get to. And just one in this side here. Now you don't want to over tighten it, because remember that is a plastic case there, so you will crack it. You don't want to do that. Just getting all the oil off there. But as you can see, that's in place. Then we want to fix this top section down to this bracket that we put in the top there. Now these are going to be using R screws, so just line them up. We need 4 of these to get these into place. Now I have taken the brake disc off the car at the moment because that's just going to keep falling out at the moment. Basically that's meant to be in like that, which will then allow the disc to go in as well, but obviously we haven't put the disc in yet. But we've got the backing plate on. But that is all there is to do in that stage. So moving swiftly on to stage 17. Poison ivy there. Here's the instructions. And again, we're going to do the right rear suspension now. So we're going to be building this up exactly like we did the last one. And here's the rest of the magazine. And once again, I'll get all of this open. Now, this is interesting. Look at these instructions again. It actually starts from C. Look, there's a completely blank page here where I'm guessing we should have had instructions to get to that stage there. So, we got to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is I definitely know I've got to put this onto here. I'm guessing we're using an F screw for this. Bit of a challenge, you know, doing another stage without instructions. I've been doing this a lot lately. So I'll get this one in first. Excellent. Okay, once I've done that, we're going to be wanting to attach this to this section here. Now you can see we've got a raised section there. I want this to be going in this way, like that. Get it in between there. And I'm holding that in with, again, one of these F screws through this side. Slightly got an extended section on here, and that will hold this whole thing into place. So I've got that in. As you can see, so that's in like that. Then I get to put this onto this part here. So I'm going to want it round, let's get it right this way round, going into the bottom there, like that. That's going to be held in with one of the flange G screws. I think we've managed this without instructions. I'm quite proud of myself. Get that all the way in, and that is all there is to do in that stage. Okay, so stage 18. Here's the instructions. And again, we're going to be making up one of the brake discs now, and putting that into place. So that's how that's looking. And the rest of the magazine. Let's get this one open. And once again, open every individual bag. Okay, first thing to do is we've got the caliper here that we're going to be putting into place. That's going to be going just at the top here of that hub that we put in, held in with one of these A screws from the other side. So if you just pull that back and twist it, you'll have easy access to get this in. Perfect. Then I'm going to be putting this backing plate into position. So I've got 2 lugs just here going into the 2 holes here. And just push that into place. So again, on the top camera, that's how that looks. All we've got to do then is just make one of these brake discs. So it's a case of just putting these 2 parts together here. There is some little locating lugs that just need to go or match up either side. And there you go. So it should be uniform all the way around. Now we're going to be taking the sticky back off this side of the disc and putting this over the top, making sure it's uniform in there. So what I want to do is take this part of the disc and put this over the top. That's going to hold everything together there. Turn it over and put these eye screws in from this side. And that is one of the brake discs done. So we've actually done 2 brake discs now, as you can see. But that's all there is to do in that stage. So the penultimate stage here is stage 19. Again, here's the magazine. And just pretty much what we did when we started this. We've got the wishbone and the suspension arm there. Putting that together. I'm guessing at the end of this stage we're going to have the rear end of the suspension of the car completed. Do we refer to Batmobiles as cars? I guess we do. Okay, so exactly how as we started this stage before. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting a bracket onto here. Make sure that the indented side is facing towards my right. I'm holding this in with an F screw. We'll load up a G screw ready, which is one of the flange screws, because just like last time, once again, I'm going to be putting this arm into this side piece here and holding it in with the G screw. Then I'm going to be taking the wishbone here, once again doing exactly the same thing, putting these in so that the excess side is going to be facing towards the inside here, and then this is going to be going on the top here, so it's going to go this way round on top. Another G screw into place there, make that nice and tight using my PH1 screwdriver for that. And then this is going to be going into the position like we did on the last one there. So once again, probably easier to put the bottom ones in first. Excellent, so the bottom ones are in. Let's just load up these G screws again, just to secure this wishbone arm into place as well. The last one's just going into this side here. And then all that's left to do is exactly like we did a couple of stages back, is just secure these tops into the bracket there with the R screws. And with this last screw going in, that is all there is to do in that stage. So the last stage of this pack is stage 20. Here's the instructions. And now we're going to be working on the left machine gun. How cool is that? So we're building this up to look just like that there. That's the rest of the magazine. Okay, let's get this open. Once again, open every individual part. And we have got some tiny parts in this one. You can probably hear that dropping. These are metal, as you can hear. Okay, so first of all, we're going to be taking this bracket here. This sort of like a suspension sleeve, it looks like. This does look like a shock absorber, doesn't it? Putting this in here, we are going to be putting a flange screw just in that hole there. So this is a type L screw. It's the only flange screw we've got, and you can see the problem straight away that I've got is that there's a magnet on here. So that's going to make things a little bit more tricky. It's a powerful magnet as well. There we go. Let me just screw that in. Yeah, you see, look, we've got a magnet just there. Just put that to one side. I want to bring over this side here now, which has got L. It's upside down to me at the moment, but I'm going to be putting this housing over the top. It's actually going to be going into the position just here. And it sort of fits in there like that, as you can see. There's nothing actually holding this in at the moment, apart from just leaning on there. Okay, with this firing pin, what we want to do is put this into the round section at the end, push it through, and then that'll enable me to slide this back then, as you can see. And then I've got a spring here, which I don't want to ping off in all directions, putting it over the end and putting this end into that indent there. And I'm keeping my finger on it, otherwise there is a chance that could ping off, which I don't want to happen. So that's what it's looking like from that side. So this is how this is all looking at the moment. What I'm going to do is take what we just created. I'm going to put in this end over that lug there, this end in here like that. It's going to be fiddly because I am then, if I can lie this down, is that going to help? It might help a little bit. Perfect, because now I'm going to be putting the top on. This is the top here. Putting it together, being very gentle. Wanting everything to slip into place. Just like that. I've pushed everything in. Excellent. Okay, a type H screw just through that hole there. And also a type H screw just into this hole here. Just holding all of that into place. And that's all there is to do in that stage. Now we've got this little part here they haven't asked us to put in yet, but I'm going to put it in just gently there. I haven't glued it or anything because I don't know if we're meant to install that yet, but I don't want to lose that little cover there. But there you go. A metal machine gun done. That's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack, which means we've created quite a bit in this stage. You know, if you're ever curious about that screwdriver that was tiny, look, I didn't use it, but look how small that is compared to my head. International unit of measure. Very good. But yeah, coming along quite heavy already. I am a little bit concerned about a plastic frame, but look, we've got these indents in here. I'm sure there's going to be some metal going in that to reinforce that. So there you go. If you do want to get this for yourself, have put a link in the video description, and we've also got the QR code on the screen. But I really hope you like that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.